Hello all, good morning and good afternoon. Hope you are doing good and keeping yourself healthy and safe. So this is we know how COVID-19 situations, all the changes done, and we are moving towards new normal. In fact, we are in new normal. All of us, like it's changed our personal and professional life. So I'll take some real-time examples like how this changed and the IT people help to change their thoughts. So recently I had interactions with one of the CIO of the organizations, big organizations. So most of the employees are working from home, and they are connecting to their enterprise environment via internet, and he put some VDI, virtual desktop infrastructure, to connect to their internal applications and databases. So he discussed few of the challenges with me, and he wanted some solutions from me. So challenges like his he want to know, like, I have put my all the securities on the internet, on the network layer. How about my database security? How about my application security? So his situations was his applications and database was managing by third-party vendor. His applications team or database team working from home. His applications team regularly need database clone of the productions environment on the test environment for any kind of testing. He take the backup on regular basis and send to the offsite for extra precautions. He also under the guidance of regulatory authority, where he needs to send the security related information's audit report to the external agencies as well as his own team, security team. So these are his like different kind of requirement he has. He wanted some solutions from me, like how to adopt the security policies, best practices for my database and applications, so that I can protect my database and applications from different kind of threats. So what I all discussed now, I can categorize this in four pillars. One is network security, which he has already taken care. His internal security team taken care of that. Second is data privacy. His main challenge was on the data privacy, where because they are governed by external authority for the data privacy, so he'll have to manage the database security, like database encryption should be in place, backup should be secure. No, like if somebody get access for the backup, they should not able to restore those data. He want to, and his another challenge was moving the data from productions to test environment. All of us know, if I clone the productions database to the test environment, anybody can, like developer can see the actual productions data. Also, it was supporting by third-party vendor. So he has some challenges on the internal and external threats. He wants to audit the what like the users is doing on the database. You want to see what the external agencies who is supporting their database, what they are doing on the database. So that was his biggest challenge. Information sharing, that they manage on the network layer, but how about the database layer? That is also his another concern. And then continuous monitoring. He's monitoring the network side, but database, whether my database is safe, whether is there anybody is doing anything suspicious thing on the database, that part was missing on the database side. So he was governed by the regulatory authority, where he has to submit all the reports like database, whether database encrypted or not, It should be as per the regulations authority, database should be encrypted at rest as well as in transit. There should be proper auditing mechanisms, so that who is doing what in the database, he will be able to see. And data masking, like productions data should not be visible by developer when he is doing the cloning of the database to the test environment. Then IT operations, the access control. We all know the database is having all the privileged data, all the sensitive data, like social security number, credit card number. So how to control those accesses? Our IT service outsourcing, yes, he is doing the IT service outsourcing, but how to protect the database from the external threat? Then IS audit, he has to submit the report on regular basis to his internal audit security team as well as external agencies. How secure is his database, whether he is taking care of their database security or not, and whether he has put the proper hardening mechanism in the database so that nobody can access the database, or nobody can unauthorized access, or nobody can hack the data from the database. Cyber fraud, he will have to manage or secure the database from cyber fraud like SQL injections. And there should be proper mechanisms for the DR. It should be full-fledged DR. Anything happens on the productions, the DR must be immediately available. And there should be proper HA mechanism, high availability, like clusters and all those. So this was he supposed to comply with the regulations authority. And he also explained like what all challenges he may face if he is not comply the regulations authority, and he will not be able to protect the database. What all challenges he may face? One is fine from the regulations authority. He may have to pay compensations for the users whose data got leaked. And if something happens on the database, he will have to immediately fix those security breaches, security issues. He'll have to, and he was having around more than 100 database and Oracle, non-Oracle databases. So immediately he have to fix those issues. To do that, you'll have to increase the number of staff. So there is some cost involved, and you'll have to fix in couple of hours. And there is a possibilities of loss of business. So if he's not able to protect the data, if my data got leaked, if somebody hacked my data, so it's not good. So that maybe customers trust will not be there. So these are the challenges he may face if he will not be able to secure his environment and database. So what I told him you have to adopt these three things. One is preventive. You have to make sure that your environment and database is secure, like database hardening and all those. You'll have to use the tools and technologies to protect the database. That is the first step. Second is detective. Okay, you put all the mechanisms to protect your database, but regularly, and you have to put some detective things also. Like how about auditing? Like let's say I'm connecting to the database. That auditing mechanisms should be there in the database. Later, if you want to do the forensic analysis, like if something happens on the database in future, you would like to see what happened in the database, and you would like to do the proper analysis for that. So some detective mechanisms should be there. And administrative, so you have to administer all those things. Some governance should be there so that you can manage database security in proper manner. Then he asked what all things I have to do. Like you have users, you have applications users, you have privileged users. They have normally in an organizations, all these kind of users are available. So I told him, so you have to do the data reductions. That mechanism should be there in the database. Like your credit card number is 16 digit, it should be displayed last 4 digit. Date of birth can be masked. Access control should be there. Like privileged users, they should access the data which is they are supposed to access. Like I am a DBA, I should access the admin related things, not the users data. I told him you have to put the DB control in the database. His one of the concern was encryptions. So you should put the database encryptions so that your database will be encrypted at rest as well as in transit. Also, you can encrypt your backup so that if somebody got access to the data, I remember I told you like he's supposed to send the backup to the offshore or maybe to the cloud. So that one, if database is encrypted and backup is encrypted, if somebody got access for that backup, you'll not be able to restore the data without key. Then data subsetting. You'll have to subset the data in region wise, year wise, size based. So like uh, they are accessing from Singapore, there are some maybe Australia, some maybe from India. So you have to region wise subset the data. And one of the concern, his concern was to like when he's moving the data from productions to test environment, the data of the productions should not be visible to the developers. So I told him, let's put data masking over there so that whatever data you are getting entire data set from the productions, but data will be masked so that developer will not see the actual data. And it will help them to do their testing. So because developer will concern on the number of rows, records, and all those things, they are not concerned about the actual data. So that you can use the data masking for that. Then detective. What are the mechanisms you have to detect, like any how you protect? You put your firewall for the internet for the network. So there is a firewall available for the database also. You have to put the database firewall which will be working between users, applications, or privileged users. Whenever they connect to the database, it should go to the database firewall. So it will store the network events. It will store then you can create a policies over there. You can enforce those policies, multiple different kind of policies, like whatever you think about the normal network firewall, same thing you can most of the things is possible using database firewall. So this is totally dedicated for the database only. Then you can do the auditing. So whatever users is doing on the database, all the records will store into the repository, central repository, that is called Audit Vault server. It has its auditing report, it will store over there. And later, if you want to do the forensic analysis, who did what and what time, from which IP, so all those things you can do from here. And it supports most of the platform like Linux, Oracle Linux, Solaris, Windows, and databases, Oracle, non-Oracle database also, like Sybase, IBM, Microsoft, all kind of databases it supports. Then third part is administrative. So I suggested him do the analysis of the privileged users, what they are doing, and then you have to scan the databases on regular basis to see what all sensitive data you have, and you have to scan the configurations also on regular basis. So now I talked about multiple options available to protect the database. Then he asked me, what all tools are available to protect my database for all the three pillars you talked about. One is preventive, one is detective, and another is administrative. So there are a couple of tools available, options available on Oracle database. Preventive, where you can do the transparent data encryptions. You can control the access of privileged users on the database. You can enable the multi-factor authorizations. You can do the data classification and change the tracking. What are the tools? Oracle Advanced Security, normally called ASO, where you can do the encryptions of the data. Also, you can do the data reductions. You have Database Vault, where you can restrict the privileged users' access. You have Level Security. You can protect your sensitive data. Total Recall you can use for the forensic analysis. Then you have Detective. What is the tool available for that? So you can do the monitoring. You can do the, as you remember, he is one of the concern was SQL injection. So SQL traffic monitoring, you can do that. You can put into blocking mode. You can configure the real-time alerting, and you can do the workflow automations. So what is the name of the tool? Is AVDF, Oracle Audit Vault and Database Firewall. And it supports, as I told you, it supports Oracle and non-Oracle database also. MySQL, IBM, Sybase, Microsoft. And administrative. So the third pillar, which is the configuration scanning, automate the patching, configurations, change control, you can do sensitive data discovery, data masking, all those things can be done. And that is using multiple tools like Oracle Database Lifecycle Management, Oracle Enterprise Manager, Oracle Data Masking. He asked me one thing, like, Prabir, okay, so I have the challenges, we discussed all the solutions, but how do you help me? Have you done such setup and configurations for any of the customers? Do you have any success stories? So these are, we have already implemented for multiple customers, I told him. So one of the bank in Cambodia, they wanted to comply their database. So you said core banking and credit card options also there on that. So retail banking. So they wanted to comply with their local regulatory authorities requirement. They wanted to protect their database from SQL traffic. They wanted to protect their database from internal and external threat. Also, they want to monitor or audit like which users is doing what, from which IP, what is the machine name, what program they have used to connect to the database. We suggested them for AVDF, and we implemented AVDF for them. So what was the solutions? We install and configure Oracle AVDF. We created a policy for them. AVDF policy, you can do that. We have created a whitelist. So what is the whitelist? So let's say your application is connecting to the database. There will be known queries which from the applications will always go to the database. So you can create a whitelist like what query the database should execute. So once that is created, then you can put into block mode, and then so only the queries which are in the library, it will be executed, and what is the blacklisted, meaning what is not in the whitelist, that will not be executed in the database. So that way you can protect other threats also. And we put the database restrictions configurations. Also, they see Audit by default AVDF has reporting features available. So he wanted reporting from the database, like which users is doing what. Those auditing report they need on regular basis. So AVDF can Audit Vault can has the options to give you the default reports, and these customers wanted some customized report. So we have customized that report also as per their security requirement. So what benefits they got? They comply with the regulations authority, and they managed to detect the unauthorized access to the databases. They created a policies to protect the database, and it's a simplify. We have installed and configured this environment, I think 4 years before. Still they are using without any issues. So that stable is this product. This is another bank in Singapore. They wanted to implement protect the database as per MAS regulations, Monetary Authority of Singapore. So there is a guidelines from the Monetary Authority of Singapore. That database must be encrypted it should be encrypted at rest as well as in transit, and there should be proper access control in the database, so that they can restrict the privileged users to access the users data. So we implemented ASO and AVDF for them, and one of the challenge of them was they don't have any downtime, and they wanted to upgrade their database from 10G to 11G, and same times they wanted to put this security components, which is AVDF, the database vault and ASO. So we used a tool, Golden Gate. So Golden Gate has the options to, you can do the zero downtime upgrade and migrate. So use Golden Gate as a tool, and same time we implemented the database security on the upgraded database. So they achieved two things. One is database is secure, and another is minimum downtime. I think it's a less than half an hour downtime. Whatever time is required to change the application side, rest it was smooth and yeah. So what was the benefit? They managed to upgrade their database in near zero downtime. They managed to comply with their regulations authority, and the encryptions is all in place after the upgrade. This is another bank in Singapore. They also wanted to implement the database security as per MAS guidelines, Monetary Authority of Singapore. They wanted to they were already on the latest versions of the database. They wanted to just implement encrypt their database at rest as well as in transit. Also they wanted to put the proper security control in the database. So we have implemented ASO for them. We have implemented database vault for them. And so what is the benefit? They managed to comply with the MAS guidelines and data protections. They managed to protect their database. They managed to protect their sensitive data. This is another bank in India. They wanted to they are under the RBI guidelines, so they have to comply with Reserve Bank of India guidelines. They wanted to protect their database from SQL injections. They wanted to protect their database from internal and external threat. They wanted to enable the auditing, so that they will see what users is doing what on the database and from where they are connecting. All those things they wanted to implement on the database. And they wanted to comply their database security as per RBI, FEMA, and IBA. So what was the solution? We have implemented AVDF and the ASO and database vault for them. Benefit: they managed to comply with RBI guidelines. Database is secure and protected from SQL injections or other things. And auditing is enabled. Report, they can generate the report, security related reports, whatever required by the external agencies, also internal security team. They managed to do that. Okay, so I managed to address all of his challenges. I managed to give him a confidence that Yes, these are the tools and technologies available. This way you can protect your database. Now he is asking, how do I know that my database is protected? How do I know what all security threats are there? Can I do the assessment of my database? Can I see what all threats are there? Do I need to patch the database? And how many users are there who is having the sensitive data, and how many users are there who is using default password? All those things he wanted to know. I told him, yes, there are options available, there are tools available, there are scripts available using which you can access the data. You can run those tools and scripts on the database. You will get the report from the database, and based on the reports you can take actions. And like whether you need any tools or not, whether you can use your normal scripting to harden the database. So those are possible. Like what is the option? So we have, there will be a tool which will run on the database. There will be a script which will collect all the database security related information, not the user's data, only the security related information from the database. It will give you a report in this template, like like if you see the basic informations, there are if your left side, user accounts, how many accounts are there, whether they're pass or uh, do you is it a low risk? If you see the second one, user accounts, is there any risk involved on those users? Is it a high risk, low risk, medium risk? Then privileges and roles. So what all privileges is having there? So once you get this report, once you click on the privileges and roles, you will see the detailed information over there, like what all privileges are there, what all roles are there, and how to control those things. So you can take actions based on that. You can do the then authorizations control. You will get, once you click over here, it will get, or you will get all the information, and then you can take actions according to that. You can see fine-grained actions, fine-grained access control. You can do that also. You can do the auditing, whether my table space or columns is encrypted or not. Those information is also available. Then database configurations, is the database configured properly or not, or there are any patches available, latest patch applied or not. All those informations we will get. And is there any thread available on the database? And it will also give you some like guide key, what patch you should apply. The network configurations, whether you have done proper network configurations or not. Is there any high risk, low risk, medium risk? Network configurations meaning your database network, so which is TNS or connect string, all those things, whatever you talked about. So those informations you will get over here. And it will give some operating system related informations also, like whether it's a low risk, high, medium, all those findings you will get from this report. And once you get this report, based on this report, you can you can take a decision on that.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Pradeep.
Thank you.